Welcome to the last week out. I'm your gracious host and captain, Mr. Chudsy Wubsy, aka Just Chad. We've got our audio engineer, world famous EDM DJ, David Slack, Big Daddy Slack. We've got Mr. Atlanta. He is our number one good guy, conversationist, intuitive, all around just amazing individual. And we have a very special guest. Very, very special guest. He's our first guest of the podcast. He is the owner of a vape shop. He is a spiritual gangster of sorts. And his name is Mr. Andrew Bird. So this podcast is brought to you by Sissy Art. Sissy Art is a clothing and art company. You can follow them at Sissy Art on Instagram. Check out some of the stuff they got going on. It's really good. T-shirts, pictures of cactuses, whatever you want. You can follow Bird's Vape Shop at eSig City.
Hey.
Get all your vaping needs done there.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plugs all the time. So we have Mr. Andrew Bird in the room today. And first off, I just want to say thank you for coming in.
Yeah, big thanks. Strong thank yous.
Yeah, strong thank yous all around.
Likewise.
Really, really appreciate it.
Likewise.
So we've got him on for a few reasons. One is he understands the struggle, and that's the point of this whole thing. Not only that, he's just a man that I really look up to quite a bit.
Aw.
Oh, okay. Hey, how's it going? So we're kind of filling it out. We're filling it out. So right now, as we bring on guests, I want you guys to know that we do have a personal relationship with Bird. We do know him. I actually see him weekly. Good-looking man. And I know you guys can't see us right now. And I think the best thing to say is that our objective is just kind of hear from him, talk with him, see what's going on with him, and then see where the conversation flows. So I will kind of kick it off with asking you, Bird, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live in right now, what are you doing? And obviously, Chad plugged your vape business. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing for work and things like that, and then we'll kind of get into a couple of questions from you.
Right on. Well, I'll tell you right now, my voice is a lot better looking than my face. So, Chad, I appreciate the plug, but goddamn, dude. Yeah, thanks for having me on, y'all. For real. I'm honored too, man. I was super excited when y'all asked me to do this. So, yeah, man, I'm living in Tempe. Actually, technically Mesa, but don't judge it because it's Little Tempe in Mesa.
It's another world over there.
That's right.
It's gross.
That's right. Rehab city, capital of the world.
Really?
So, probably not. I don't know. So, yeah, I got this little retail vape business going on. Working on the wholesale manufacturing side, and we'll see how that goes. But I've been doing that for about 4.5 years. And 3 of those years were spent around my people, surrounded by my people.
Did you get into the vape industry because you had an ambition to help people quit smoking, or was it mainly just a good business opportunity?
Dude, it was a good business opportunity. Honestly, man, when I was back in the day, dude, I used to put owning a business on the same list, like the same goals list or bucket list as being a legitimate character in an anime. You know what I mean? Which is like highly freaking unlikely.
When is that kind of? So what do you mean? Like you wanted to be as you, like you wanted yourself painted, or you just wanted to be the voiceover for it?
Dude, I wanted to be a character, like legitimate. Like you turn on Adult Swim and you go to Bleach, and there I am, fighting on the other side, man, that kind of shit.
Oh my goodness.
And it was on the same list,
Boom, boom.
Yeah, so
you're 50% there, baby.
I'm halfway there.
Halfway there.
When did you start making lists like that?
Oh my God, I was spinning when I was making lists like that. They weren't even really lists, you know what I'm saying? Like I'd write it on a napkin and then it'd end up in my back pocket in the laundry or some shit.
That was a magical napkin. Things are happening off that napkin.
No kidding. My
Good
life is
work.
based on that napkin.
Okay. I totally get it. Okay. Oh, we're looking at a bunch of anime characters right now. Okay, so look at a couple of these. Which one do you think that you were hoping you looked mostly like?
Oh, I would definitely be drinking the bleach. For
oh,
sure.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Metalocalypse. Man.
Metalocalypse.
Except I'd probably be Pickles if I were on that show.
Okay, I remember.
I'd probably be Pickles.
I don't think you'd be Pickles. Oh, I don't know. Pickles is pretty cool. Would you have been bigger? You're a pretty big guy now, though.
I guess so.
I guess so.
Yeah, I grew a couple inches in the past 7 years. Both ways, laying down and standing up. So that's cool.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Ooh.
Enough with that.
It's heating up in here a little bit.
So, so you run the business. What about personal life? What's going on in your personal life?
Oh, personal life, man. Dude, honestly, just yesterday, I was just thinking to myself, man, I was driving back from Phoenix and I was just thinking to myself, I have so many things that I'm involved in and so many people that I surround myself with, like volunteer work and like committees and boards and stuff like that where I'm able to be of service, to people is just like, it's unbelievable, man. It really is.
Yeah.
Recently, probably about 2 months ago, man, I went through a breakup. I was dating this girl for about 2.5 years.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And that was honestly one of the most difficult conversations of my life that bloomed into one of the biggest growth opportunities I've ever experienced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just opened it up. So.
Were you cohabitating?
No.
You guys didn't live together after 2.5 years.
After 2.5 years, man, her and I both were still in this place where we were just so terrified to either live together,
okay,
have a kid, get married, any of that stuff, man. So like,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's super conservative nowadays. I mean, I've got friends who move in with girls after less than a year.
I moved in with a girl after 90 days once.
Oh my goodness.
That didn't end very well at all.
Rehab romance right there.
Oh no. Okay, so you just got out of a breakup. What are you doing now with relationships? Like, what's your perspective on them? Are you on Tinder?
I consider myself borderline gay now. I would say asexual, actually.
Okay. So nothing's happening for you.
Yeah. Down south, it's just disappeared for now. It's taking a vacation.
Desolate.
So
dry.
Yeah, I look like a Ken doll.
Ooh.
Pretty much.
So are you using? Is this a good plug for Balls Bomb?
Balls Bomb.
Yeah,
that is a great plug for Balls Bomb.
Okay, good.
Why don't we get into that?
Yeah, well, Ken, no, we don't need to get into that. But so right now you're just on a sabbatical or a hiatus. You're taking a break from women altogether. You just kind of did you make a decision on that, or is it just too hard? Is it something to do with your self-esteem? Tell me what's going on.
Dude, to be honest, man, after I got out of the relationship, there was a lot that came to light about, how I operate in a relationship altogether. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. Tell me more.
So, I'm the kind of guy, and I've been like this forever, man. I'm 30 years old, but, before this past relationship, man, my go-to was just like, get in, get out, don't talk about it, go cold, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're talking like pretty much every female I've either got intimate with or had a relationship with, man. It's like all the same story for me. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of resurfaced in this past relationship. So like, I think, especially considering how old I am, man, I'm trying to approach
how old are you?
The next one. 30 years old, man.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 31.
Oof.
Oof. Well, so you're saying that it was in and out. What was the longest relationship that you had prior to this 2.5-year relationship?
6 months.
Oh, man, you're not lying.
Yeah.
That's a long time in my book.
Yeah.
What?
I'm an emotional teenager.
Okay.
Oof. I still smell like Similac. That's how emotionally young I am.
Oh.
I can smell from over here.
So, in and out, and then you had this 2.5-year relationship, and right now you're on a sabbatical. That makes sense. Are you playing the field at all, though? So you're not on, and I just bring this up because in our 30s, people in their 20s, kind of when we look back, actually, we did a practice run with one of our good friends last week, and it did turn into a conversation about some of the social networking dating apps and things like that. And I kind of like to talk about that because I've just never had the experience with it. I've never even had one.
Oh my God. Don't even get into it.
Don't get into it?
Oh, shit gets weird.
Well, I'm married, so I know I'm not going to get into it. But I do like to just hear people talk about it. It's like I vicariously lived through them. You know?
They make one for that too. You go to ashleymadison.com, shameless plug.
What is that?
So that's a dating app that married women can go on to find some young pool boy. penis.
Do the husbands
You know
know
what I'm
about
saying?
it?
I would
No.
certainly hope not.
No.
If they did, I think that would be considered a swingers situation.
They
You know what I'm
recently
saying?
got hacked too in the last year,
No
and
kidding.
a bunch of people got exposed.
Oh, that's impressive though. Someone went in there and was like, "We're airing them out." They could have really extorted a lot of people.
For real.
That's crazy.
For real. No, but
Okay.
I actually did. I mean, previously before this relationship, man, I was all over it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I was looking for something there. I was just trying to, I was trying to flex the ego pretty
Yeah.
much, with that. And dude, I got some weird stories about Tinder, but
We don't. Well, okay, do you have one in particular? Like
One in
one
particular?
really good one? If you don't, it's okay.
I do. So I matched with this girl,
Okay.
right? And we didn't. So I think I sent her like 1 or 2 messages, and I didn't hear from her from like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
Right. But at 2:30 in the morning, one day on like a fucking Tuesday.
That's
she
the
hits
best
me a
time for a
message.
single guy to get a message.
Oh yeah, that's when it's going down. You know what I mean? It's after midnight. And you get a message from someone. It's like, all right, this is happening.
Yeah.
Right. So she sends me a message. She's like, hey, you should come over. We should Netflix and chill. As generic as that sounds. So I'm like, yeah, dude, this is going down. So I go over there. I got my rubbers on me, right? And because I wear rubbers because I'm responsible.
Good for you. Seriously.
Calculated
I
move.
still
Smell
smell
like
like
Similac.
Okay, keep going.
Oh man, so I'm going over here, man, and I meet up with her, and I get there, and she's got a freaking bottle of wine. She ain't even using the glass, dude. She's just going straight for the hole, And
You were in
she's-
danger. You walked into a dangerous situation.
Oh my god, it gets better, man. She's just putting this thing down.
Okay.
Right? Putting this thing down, and I'm trying to make a move. I'm trying to like get it over with, man. I got work in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And she's like, "No, I'm not that kind of girl. I'm not that kind of girl." I'm like, maybe I'm missing something here. I don't know what's happening. So I'm like starting to walk out. I'm like, yeah, I got work in the morning. I'm just going to go home, get some rest. She's like, no, hold up. Look on the counter. Look on the counter over there. And there's a dildo stuck to the counter next to a box of condoms with like a gallon of lube, all sitting on her kitchen counter.
And did
I'm
you
like,
turn to her
"Alright."
and she looked at you? She's like, "I'm that kind of girl."
Oh man.
Okay, and where to go from there?
So I go over to this counter, man. I start, I pick this.
Hold on, before you keep going, let's keep it not PG-13, but not triple X. Where are we going right now?
So basically, I grab these things. I walk back over to her, and she says it again. She's like, "I'm not that kind of girl." I'm like, "This is getting fucking weird."
Yeah,
man.
this is hard to read.
I'm like, "What?" So I got a dildo in one hand and the condoms in the other, and
Oh
I'm looking
my.
at her like, "What do you want to do here?" Like, I don't know where to go from here.
It's like a Mexican standoff.
Straight up. I ended up just leaving, man.
No.
She ended up, dude, she ran out of her apartment trying to run after me all drunk and shit. And I'm just like, I gotta go, man. This is over, man.
See, and this is
No
what's
more of
wild.
this.
I hear people tell me about Tinder, and I hear people tell me about Bumble, and then sometimes I'll hear people be like, "Well, you get those people who are just so anti, they're anti-social media, they're anti these things, and they're like,
Word.
well, how are you going to tell your kids that you guys met there?" It's like, where me and my wife met? We met smoking weed at a party. How am I going to tell my kids about that? I'm going to lie.
Okay.
I'm going to do what everyone has to do. I'm going to lie. Be like, I saw
Tell
her.
them you met on Christian Mingle.
On Christian Mingle. Yeah, no, I'm going to tell them it's like,
Jewish
I
Connect.
saw your mom at a school, and I knew right when I saw her. I knew. But that's not
I
true.
want to smash that.
No, yeah. Well, that was partly true, but I think that we were smoking weed and we both had the same taste in music. I think, and that was it.
I saw
You know,
your
and it went
mom
from there.
twerking, and in that moment, I knew.
I knew.
It
I
was
like,
love
wow,
at first sight.
no one's ever thrown it back like that. But I think it's so silly, but I enjoy hearing about it because the situations that come from it are so sometimes volatile and you never know what you're going to get. It's like, who knows where that girl was? I mean, look at you, you're just out of a 2.5 year relationship. Lord forbid she comes over and you start talking about that. I mean, God, that'd end it right there. So do you think that your dating and stuff, is that direct? I know this is kind of a weird question, but tell me about your parents. Were your parents married?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a product of step parents? Or
No, man. Honestly, man. So I was grown up in one. I mean, you couldn't really imagine a better household, man. We're talking like middle class, white picket fence, 2.3 kids, all that jazz. You know what I'm saying? We had one dog, boy and a girl, 2 years apart.
Mhm.
Parents were married, I think 20 years before my pops passed away, right? And they never fought. We never saw them fought once, you know.
No kidding.
If they ever got in a fight, man, they'd exchange some words. They'd leave the house each for like 20, 30 minutes and come back and make amends. You know,
Just
that
great
was
role
kinda
models.
Straight up.
That is beautiful,
Yeah.
dude. Holy smokes!
I don't know
Are
where
you
the hell
older?
I came from,
Yeah,
but
well, and older or younger? Are you the oldest or youngest?
I'm the
sibling?
youngest.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister's 2 years older, so
Where's she at?
she lives in San Diego, man. She's got her own diving business.
Is she the more successful one?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You run a business.
Yo, she did an undergrad degree in like 3 years, man. She killed it. You know
No
what I mean?
kidding.
Straight A's, 4.2.
How's your guys'
lived at
relationship?
mom's.
Do you guys talk?
We do, man.
How
We
often?
do. So I'd probably say, once, twice a week. I hit her up. I'll either text her or whatever. But dude, she's out on a boat for 12 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? And she won't be able to have any service. So like if I call her, man, I'll wait a couple of days before she gets back to me, that kind of thing. But she does like a bunch of research underwater. Like she's studying marine life and stuff like that. She's doing what she loves.
Trying to make an impact.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Super cool.
Man, I would hate my sister if she was that successful. That's rough.
For real, man.
She sounds like a really, really good person.
Dude, I was the problem child.
Yeah, you
For
were.
sure.
Look at you. You're on Tinder going, holding dildos and condoms. You're a real mess.
Oh,
Meanwhile, what's she doing?
hitting
2
bottoms.
fish in each hand. Just out there saving them, reviving them underwater.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
5-year relationships.
Okay, so, and a lot of this
Keeping it
podcast
together.
ideology was to kind of come around, and what we came to find was like we have this amazing fellowship, and it's really beautiful. Like we have this amazing fellowship of friends and the support system, and a lot of us have these like really sordid histories, whatever they are. And so, without segueing really hard, what we would say is that what we hope to do is kind of ask you, what are some really tough things that you've gone through? And so I sort of know some of those, but I think it's best that you sort of bring to me like something tough. And you talked about a breakup that you've dealt with. And so we can kind of get into how you overcame it. And so here you are. I hear your life. I hear that you had great parents. I hear that you have an amazing sister. I mean, if you just listen to your sister, you'd probably be doing really well, to be quite honest. But here you are, and you said you fell from grace, and I think it would be important to tell our listeners maybe what was that fall from grace? What have you been through? What was the precipice for us bringing you here? Like what stands out to you when I say that stuff?
Man, only one thing comes to mind,
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to keep coming back to this because like, I feel like, one point in my life pretty much defines the remainder of it. Right. And that's my own insecurity or whatever. But, when I was 13, man, I lost my pops. I guess not but our family lost a father. Right. And what had happened was we woke up on a Tuesday on September 11th and we were watching the live news. Right. And we're watching this shit go down. And in that moment, we each isolated. We were scared. We were whatever. Right. And so we're watching this shit unfold, not knowing what's going to happen. Right. But pretty much, man, like everything I can boil it down to, man, is that moment when I was 13 years old watching that shit happen, because 6 months later, I was in a park smoking weed with my buddies, going to a house party with a bunch of 17-year-old girls,
Yeah.
looking for something that would, kind of layer over this life that I didn't want to live. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of, in retrospect, obviously, and, instead of like stepping up and taking it like a man,
Well, you were 13.
Exactly.
Well, how'd your sister deal with it?
I still to this day don't really know.
What a crazy situation.
He was in one of the towers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
He worked there.
He went for 2 days because he got a brand new job.
Holy shit.
Yeah. He lost his previous job. He got laid off at this mining company, right?
Yeah.
3 months later, he's stepping into the 91st floor to take up a VP executive job with this insurance company.
Wow, man.
It's crazy shit.
Were you out in New York at the time?
No, we were all back home.
Oh
Back here in
my
AZ.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, he left on Sunday, right? Sunday afternoon, right? He came into this room. I was in the back room playing video games, man. He came in, touched my head, said goodbye,
Mm-hmm.
And that was on a Sunday. And then we woke up that Tuesday, watch everything go down.
Wow,
So-
man. Okay, and so you say that after that, you sort of turned to weed?
Well, I started smoking weed. Yeah, that was the first thing. So we went to my buddy's like. We get a ride with one of his friends, and we go to this McDonald's, man, and he's got this genius idea of using a straw wrapper as a joint roll. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's always fun when you try to make something work. I think I've used a bubblegum wrapper before.
Word?
Yeah. We made it happen though.
Couldn't even imagine.
Behind the old Harkins.
Hell yeah.
That's where we used to kick
bottles.
Yep.
Chapsticks.
Mm-hmm.
I used
Hell
my
yeah.
hand once. Just packed it into my fist and then.
The flesh bong.
Oh my god, I could talk about that for a second. Let's just
No
keep going.
kidding.
Okay, so you started smoking weed.
Yeah. Yeah. Start smoking weed and drinking
Yeah.
same time.
Mhm.
You know. And what had happened, you know, we went to this park, we smoked this joint, we went to this house party.
Yeah.
And I remember we were sitting around this table playing King's Cup.
Yeah, I
And
know
was
that. It's a
13,
drinking
man.
game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like an excuse to get super drunk.
super drunk. Doesn't matter what's in the middle of the cup. You can have wine with orange juice and freaking vodka and all this other crap in there. You still got to put it down, right? But I'm sitting around with all these, 16 and 17-year-old kids, man, and just thinking to myself, like, this is what I was looking for. This is it.
Yeah.
I've arrived, man. This is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm going to do from now on,
Yeah.
And so I did.
You just
So I
drank
did.
and smoked weed, and then that kept going and going and going. Do you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty damn progressive.
How progressive? What do you mean?
So, I mean, for me, man, in my own experience, man, it took like 6 or 7 years, but after 6 or 7 years of having fun,
Mhm.
partying, being around people you love to be around, it turns into this thing where it's a need. It's a internal desire. It's a craving every moment that you don't have it. You know what I mean? And it turns into things like pills. It turns into things like, hallucinogens. It turns into, anything else that could take me deeper, that could take me further,
And so I've heard a lot of stories about people abusing drugs, and in my mind, it's always, I struggle with, because you started using it, you said you were going through this horrible thing, and then at some point you're continuing to use drugs and alcohol, and then I can't help but assume like these consequences start happening to you and to your family life and things like that. When do you realize like, well, this isn't working? This isn't working out. Like this isn't helping the situation anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No kidding.
Well, and I'm just asking sort of, that some of the consequences that happen, it's like, why didn't you stop? Why didn't you stop using drugs?
Dude, it came to a point where that's all I really knew.
Yeah.
It came to a point where, it worked for so long, and I was just kind of, that was the only thing I knew.
Yeah.
I hadn't learned how to cope. I hadn't learned how to talk about stuff. I didn't learn how to keep a job or keep a relationship going.
Okay.
Because I hadn't put in the effort to do any of that stuff. And like it's really all I knew, man. But like the tank was running dry.
Right.
But,
So what was the aggregate that got that? I mean, so here's what I know about Bird. I know that you're not currently using drugs.
word.
What do you think was the aggregate of that change for you personally?
The breaking point.
Yeah, sure. Maybe the breaking point.
The life that I was living, man, was it was dismal in my own eyes, right? I had come to the point where I got sick of digging my own grave.
Okay. Well, that's a metaphor for what did your life look like? Where were you living?
I was living in my mom's second house,
Ooh,
not paying her rent.
Yeah, that's big status.
Like, yeah, straight up. This 60-year-old
And how old-
house, right?
how-
Just dilapidated, like, fucking shack.
So we're on the
empty.
precipice of change. How old were you at the time?
I was
So you're 30
23.
now. 23 now.
Yeah.
So oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so at 23 years old, you're living with your mom.
Living with my roommates, man, in my mom's old house, right? Not paying her rent because I can always manipulate her into getting
Did
that
you-
free shit, right?
So when your friends came by, you were like, "Hey, this is my house.
Straight up.
I run this."
Straight up.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me like, look at this asshole right here, right?
And you're like, you
'Cause
can, you can leave my house if you talk to me like that.
This is the bird's den.
Welcome to the bird's nest, motherfucker.
You're in my house. And the funny part is, dude, I I'd be asking them for money, man. I'd be asking to bum them money, you know?
Yeah, they didn't pay rent.
Like, give me rides and shit like that because
Yeah.
my truck was wrecked,
Absolutely.
you know?
Okay.
And, yeah, man, I was making weekly runs to grocery stores, filling up carts and walking out.
Stealing.
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, you know, steaks, oils,
Be careful, man.
booze.
Fry's
stuff
grocery
like
store.
that.
He's here. We've got him. We've caught him.
I'll be in Mexico. Come find me.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how I was surviving, man.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine that I was living with was pushing pills, right? A buddy before that had, you know, he was selling weed, he was selling pills, that kind of stuff. So I was kind of just riding, you know, piggybacking his business, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And for some grace of God, man, I was still enrolled in school. And that was like my last ditch effort. Even though I was waking up every single morning to this shitty little dark room,
Yeah.
looking in my mirror and absolutely dreading the person on the other side, right? Every morning with a semi-sober mind, just running through all the hearts that I've broken, all the people that I've stolen from, all the relationships that I've burned down, you know? And when that last ditch effort was taken out from under me, man, it just all fell apart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that was like all my eggs were in that basket, right? But everything else was absolutely disgusting. So when that got taken from me, I just cracked.
Yeah.
I cracked, you know?
What were you going for school for?
So I was in an undergrad degree. My 4th year in, I was a 1.6 and
Crushing it.
just killing it. Third degree that I'd been enrolled in, and this was like the bottom of the barrel, right? Because they were just sick of fucking re-enrolling me. So I was going for a bachelor's degree, and it was like one to two classes a semester. That's about all I can handle, right? Because anything else, man, I didn't have the time to go because I couldn't drink in school, right?
Yep.
Or at least I couldn't drink in the classes that I was going to, right?
Yeah.
So I had to make sure that I can get fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I couldn't be in class if I couldn't get fucked up.
Yeah, that's a big waste of time.
Yeah.
I can't be going to school.
Why would I want an education, man?
I got to drink. That makes sense.
So
And then you said that was kind of swiped out from me, and then it just hits you like a ton of bricks one day.
yeah, I'm
No kidding.
like
23 years old.
23 years old, man. When like everybody else out there is like they'll get fucked up, man. They'll go party. You know what I'm saying? They'll go have some fun, and then like Monday hits, and they're like, all right, man, I got to hit the books again. You know.
Right.
I'm sitting there on a Tuesday afternoon, ironically, another Tuesday afternoon, man, with a bottle of whiskey in my right hand and a bloody knuckle in my left. I'm actually hitting a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
You know, crying hysterically like a little girl, man. You know, not knowing what to do with my life. My roommates were trying to like see how I was doing, and I'd fucking scare them off, you know, run them off. And I just knew at that point, like, this has got to stop.
So what did you do? Did you go to a hospital?
The only person I knew who to call was a friend of one of my, you know, family friends, man. Secretly, like, I didn't know, but, you know, my best friend, his father had been, 20-something years sober at this point, right? He had sent a buddy of his to come pick me up, right? So I called him. He sent his buddy to come pick me up, and this dude picks me up. He throws the booze. He takes me to a church of all freaking places, and I'm sitting there crying.
That's
dude.
where you needed to go.
Yeah, no shit. I needed some God,
Of all
man.
places. That's exactly where we're going. We're going to a church.
Straight
I don't
up.
care what religion it is. You're going.
Oh man, save my soul, Jeebus.
That's what you need.
Straight up.
Okay, and so you go to this church, and then it was just like a relief.
Well, and he's sitting me down and he's telling me, you know, what I'm doing. You know, he's sitting down and telling me, you know, this is what's going wrong, and you need to change this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's basically analyzing me, man. This guy, you know, had no psychological certificates or PhDs or
Yeah,
nothing.
not a
but
clinician, just a guy.
Right, just a freaking guy, but he knew exactly where I was.
That's rad.
You know.
Yeah.
So, and I could vibe with that. You know, the guy was telling me his own pain, his own suffering, and it's just like, that's where I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know where I am.
Yeah.
I fucking believe you.
Yep.
You know?
Mm-hmm. And then
So.
boom. Then he put you on what, like an action plan, huh?
Yeah, and a week later, man, I was checking into my first treatment center.
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're plugging treatment centers, baby. Bring your insurance cards. We got them. We're just joking about that. We don't.
Yo, Access, BSP, APCS,
Not,
whatever
not
you got,
yet,
man.
but we're not opposed to it.
We're working on it, though. Last week out. Actually, that's a really good name for a treatment center. Holy smokes.
First weekend.
Whoa, divine intervention.
first
Pivot,
weekend.
baby.
Last week
Life's
out,
all about
first
pivots.
weekend.
First weekend.
Last we got that detox.
Yeah. All right. And so now, life today and kind of, for me in some of the stories I've heard, and that's something beautiful. Thank you so much for opening up with us. And when I hear people kind of tell me about, it's like everyone's been through something. Everyone's been through something. You talk to some people and you're just like, holy shit, man. Because I can remember watching 9/11 happen. I was at school. I was in algebra class.
Yeah.
And I just remember being, I mean, when you're a kid, it's just we're so resilient. And obviously I didn't even have 1,000th of the experience or attachment to it that you did. But I remember being angry. And I've had these things in my life also, and what I hear though is that you turn to alcohol, you turn to these, and it's like, well, that's not a solution. That's no solution. And you said, okay, you did this for a long time, and then this happened, and that happened. It's like, well, for some people, I think what would be important to hear is like, well, what are you doing now? Like, is there a solution? I mean, it's like you kind of testament that stuff to the pain that you were going through when your dad passed. It's like, okay, well, what about grief now? What about the next person that passes? Are you going to start drinking again?
Oh, hell no.
Okay. Well, what's different
know,
though?
man.
Like, what's different? What do you do now? What do normal people do?
Dude, the biggest grief in my life today, I'd say, is probably being a vegan and getting cheese on a burger.
That is
on a
rough.
black bean burger.
Is that
You know what
rough?
I'm saying? When I specifically asked for no cheese. All right, you brought me cheese on my burger. I want to speak to your manager. That's like the biggest grief of my life today. It's
Well, do
fucking blessing,
vegans?
man.
I mean, I guess it's the caliber of vegan, but do you just take it off? I mean, if I ask for no tomatoes come, I just take it off. I don't take the burger back.
I will say I eat the cheese. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, you disgusting
vegan.
monster!
It's really hard to take melted cheese off of a burger compared to
Oh
tomatoes.
yeah, whatever, dude. I've
Man,
done harder than that. You just
some-
scrape it off with a fork.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Don't be
Yeah, no
silly.
big deal. No harm, no foul. Some
But-
people won't even like eat food made in the same room as cheese.
But
You know
what,
what I mean? That's
okay.
like-
Past
that's a
that
little
though,
much.
what do you do now? What do you do? How do you deal with this stuff? What
What,
does
the
life
cheese
look
or the
like?
grief?
The grief.
The grief, man. Oh, dude, I gotta say these days, man, outlets for that are they're not only like more wholesome and more just, I guess you could say, but like they're more healthy for me. You know what I'm saying? The outlets that I use today, man, I go to people, man, I open up. I tell them exactly what's going on. Dude, when I was, back when I was drinking, man, it was like, I just bottle that shit up.
Yeah, just
I
pack
stuff
it down there like an overflowed trash can. You just get your fucking foot in there and just
hell
push
yeah.
it down.
Just a fucking compactor, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
And, I mean, that was the way I dealt with it. But these days it's, if shit is really going down, like especially with this breakup, right? And I was picturing myself going a long way with this girl. But, when I left her, man, the first thing that I went to was somebody like that guy that had picked me up that day. Someone that had been through that pain.
So helping
you know?
somebody.
And that's what I seek today.
Yeah.
I look for somebody that's experienced that,
Okay.
no matter what it is, man. And if I can know their pain and they can know my pain and they can know that suffering, they can know that grief.
Ooh, the power of community, baby.
Dude.
We
it's
here
like
together.
Spiritual
We're
orgy
all
up
in this
here,
together,
man.
guys. I need your fucking help.
Kumbaya.
Oh, fucking right, dude. I'll hold hands with anybody, dude. Seriously. Well, that's
I'll
really
hold something
beautiful,
else.
dude. That's really, really beautiful what you're telling me. So you're reaching out to people. You're talking to people.
Yeah, man.
And then you were talking about giving back in your community and volunteering and doing things like that. And that I would say, outside of, it's like, how do you even prioritize that? I mean, I have a wife. I got a baby coming. I got a business.
cool.
I got a job. I got friends. Fuck, I do. Did I say I have
You
a
got
job?
a podcast.
Yeah, no. And we got this fucking podcast that takes up my whole life. I'm just joking. I do the
Yeah.
least. I just show up and talk. And so, as far as it goes for you, is that, and for me, I would say this is at the end of the day, I have all these things going on, but I'm this, right? Like I know I have to have that I'm this thing, right? And for me, it's like, okay, I have to be a man of good character. It can't be something finite. If it's something finite for me, it's like, fuck, my fucking wife's going to leave me. I know it, man. I just walk around and I see all these relationships ending and I'm having a kid and like, what if the kid passes? I know it's dark to say, but I do think about these things. I'm a fucked up person.
It's real.
No, I'm just saying. And so for me, it's like, who am I? What am I at the end of the day? And for me, it's like, I gotta be a man of good character. And I fall from that, but I think that's kind of like a exercise, It's like, okay, that's who I am because my job's going to suck, or this is going to suck sometimes. And if I define myself by that, it just gets really painful. So for you, it's like, who are you? What defines you today? What is your character traits?
Well, dude, that's definitely a good reminder to kind of overlook, all these things on the outside that we can easily identify ourselves with, man.
Right.
And real quick, I definitely relate with the dark thoughts, man. Pretty much every time I drive on a freeway, I think about driving off the edge of the bridge. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking
or
right.
Some fucked up car crash.
My therapist will be like, "Are you
explosions
thinking
and
about
shit."
killing yourself?" You're like, "No." She's like, "Have you ever?" You're like, "Yeah."
Fuck yeah.
I don't even know why. It's not like I'm suicidal at all, but sometimes I'm just like, what if I just crash this car? Is that too dark? I'm so sorry.
It's not even real either. It's not like I'm gonna go do this. It's just like, yo, what if this happened?
Yeah, dude. If you can go to jail for the things that you think about, I'd be buried alive, dude. I think of
multiple life sentences.
What's wrong with me? I sometimes hear that. I think about that. I talked to my wife about that not too long ago. We were talking about, the differences between men and women. I was just like, calm down. Don't get mad at me about this. Oh, calm down, everybody. But my wife and me were talking, and I was like, do you ever just think, like, every room I go into, I'm like, what if someone comes in here and perpetrates this room?
Figures me out.
Yeah, or no, they come in with a gun. What am I going to do? And I'm thinking about what I'm going to throw at them. Like, I'm a fucking ninja constantly in my head, dude.
Straight up.
Yeah?
Straight up.
Is that a guy thing? Chad, David, what about you guys? You guys think about that stuff?
I think about it constantly. I was at a comedy show last night, and the first thing I did is looked for all the exits because my mind was like, this place is so packed that if something bad happens, like, people are going to get trampled. And I was with my mom, and I was like, my mom has a bad back. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to somehow...
You're going to carry her.
You're going to carry her while kicking ass.
I'm going to punch people to get out of her way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I was like, Mom, let's sit over there. Let's sit over there by the exit. That was my first thought walking into the show.
David, what about you?
I don't know.
What about you?
If it's my time, then it's my time.
Wow,
I'm not scoping the exits and worrying about what I'm going to throw
He's
at
on
somebody.
another level, man.
Yeah, no, that's a level of serenity. No, I think everybody's different, but it's a kind of reoccurring theme for me is like this like sort of primal thought in my head that I'm going to have to like do some sort of, I don't know, violent action.
Some kung fu, man.
I don't know.
I'm thinking about Matrix shit. I'm thinking about, like somebody comes up behind some big ass like 300-pound dude is gonna like chokehold me, and I'm somehow gonna flip him over my shoulder and break his arm at the same time.
Do you do any karate? Do you know anything?
No, hell no, man. I got like
martial
4
arts?
fights in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Me too, man.
There'd
Only
be no
4.
way I could pull that shit.
I've
off.
lost most of them too. I cry after all of them.
Oh yeah.
But I think I'm tough.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
That's what I say because I just don't want. Because if I was a fighter, I'd be a terrible fighter. So I better be a lover. To be quite honest, man, that's crazy. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break. David, can you make that happen for us?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do that.
All right, let's take a break here.
And we back.
Okay, so we are back, and we wanted to just kind of open up with our viewers. Yeah, so we took a break. Basically, what we did was we smoked a bunch of nicotine with Bird. Bird brought a bunch of nicotine for us. So thank you, Bird.
Shameless plug.
East City, Tempe.
Chad opened up that he's a bit nervous. Chad, you want to open up about your nervousness? Maybe shake it out a little bit.
Yeah. Let me air it out just a little bit here.
Or pee it out.
Yeah, I was extremely nervous, and then when Bird told us the story about his fascia, I immediately just was in just so much awe, and just like kind of like speechless also, because what a tough experience, man. And it's like you're never given like a handbook like, hey, if your dad dies in an act of terrorism on the country, what do you do?
Right.
You know, and like your story of like how you tried to cope with it and where your life's at today was just, I mean, I cried.
He just sat here, but he might have cried a little bit. I don't know.
I was quiet the entire time because I was sobbing like a little girl.
You can hear a baby violin playing.
It was so bad.
Well, and anybody who listened to this, give us a break. I mean, we're figuring this thing out. We have no idea what we did. All we did was argue during the break about what music we could play or not play because we have no idea what we're doing. This is beautiful. What a beautiful experience. And again, Bird, thank you for coming on and kind of feeling us out. And I'm sure if you came on in a year from now, we're going to be fucking veterans. You know, we don't know what we're doing.
Or we're going to sound exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Who knows?
Chad'll still be nervous.
I'll still be nervous, which is really weird because I'm not a nervous individual.
No, not at all. So it's always fun to see people out of their normal positions and say in a new disposition. But I would urge us now to kind of go through, and we have this segment that we've thought of that we think is just wonderful. Oh my goodness. And it's called Unsolicited Advice. And basically
my
what
favorite kind.
Oh my God, I fucking love it, dude. I love when people give me advice that I don't ask for. And so what we want to do is kind of just take what Bird has given us and kind of, I guess, synthesizes. There's a little synapses for the boys, the ladies.
That's listening. A big word.
I know. God.
And if you have anything that you want unsolicited advice, you can DM us on Instagram at Last Week Out, or you can email us thelastweekout@gmail. Again, DM us on Instagram, Last Week Out, or email us on Gmail, thelastweekout@gmail.
Perfect.
If you want some of that unsolicited advice.
Okay.
And so solicit your advice.
So here's what I want to say is Bert shared with us a story about going through grief. And for me, I'm listening to it and I'm listening to him turning to drugs and turning to alcohol and doing these things. And so
turning to lube and dildos.
Lube and dildos. Yeah. Tinder, man. We
Glory
didn't
holes.
know about that.
Wait,
but
we didn't go over that.
I think basically what I heard was that
was last week. Whoops.
Yeah,
wrong podcast.
You guys will never have to listen to last week's. And just thank God for that, because all we did was talk about dicks. I don't know how that happened. We just slide. We digress really easily, but I think it's not the worst thing.
What else is there to talk about?
Yeah, that's true. So what I heard Bert talk about was his grief and turning to alcohol and turning to drugs. But for me, I think what I heard was the importance of your community and talking to people about what's going on. And then even more than that is taking advice and utilizing your support systems around you. Because I mean, we have this fucking amazing community. It's like sometimes I think I'm the only person going through whatever the fuck I'm going through. Or even when we were talking about that silly shit about how I think about just if a shooter comes in and what I'm going to do, it's like, I keep that stuff to myself. I don't even know why. And then I talk to someone about it and they're like, yeah, dude, I think about that. And I'm like, fuck, thank God.
For real.
Thank God I'm not a stark raving lunatic, and just talking to people. And so what I hear you saying is the importance, so for anyone who loses, just like fucking talk to somebody, man. Tell them what the fuck you're thinking. And if you don't have friends that you can tell what the fuck you're actually thinking, like the depraved, stark raving shit because you're too worried that they're gonna like air you out on social media, it's like, get better fucking friends, dude.
Straight up.
Get better fucking friends.
No truer words have ever been said.
Jesus Christ. If you're gonna fucking judge me, like Chad fucking judges me for not finishing my food every single fucking day. Chad, tell him about it.
Okay, then this is a really touchy subject. Okay?
It's a fucking bad friend, dude.
Every time we eat somewhere, Anthony leaves an enormous amount of food left on his plate.
We're talking a second meal, huh?
We're talking...
I don't eat leftovers.
He doesn't eat leftovers. He pays for it.
I don't believe in leftovers.
It's a waste of money.
You know the real problem, though?
Hold on. No. I'm not done yet.
All right, I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
There's a thing called... It's a very elite club called the Clean Plate Club.
It's not real.
It is real, and Anthony does not belong to it. That's really all I have to say about it. It's frustrating.
I'm like president and CEO of this club, man.
Are you really? You finish it every time?
I might as well be licking my plates.
I think
I'm notorious for those.
I will take my finger and take whatever residue is left on the plate, and then.
Damn right, It's precious calories right there.
I think Chad's just mad. Chad's a vegan. For those of you who don't know, I know we went a whole hour on a podcast without him letting you guys know we were vegan. It's a fucking. Can we get a round of applause, David?
Yeah, I think it's a first.
Can we get a round of applause for him, David? Thank you. God, fucking good job, Chad.
So proud to know Chad.
Oh my God. I was wondering if we're going to get through the whole podcast without them knowing. But what I think the problem is Chad used to finish, like Chad would literally be touching my food before I was done with it. And now he's just fucking mad, man. He's fucking mad. But no, in the unsolicited advice, what I'm getting at is we got good fucking friends, man. And that's not, I would say that's a little bit of grace, but also I would say that's so important to people. It's like, talk to your friends. And if they're not good enough, find better friends. For God's sake, that's my bit of unsolicited advice for anybody listening, okay? So I'm going to pass it over to Chad. Chad, you want to give him some unsolicited advice here?
What do we give an unsolicited advice
about
on?
what Bird talked about. God damn
about his
it.
breakup?
About anything.
About
what do you
anything?
take from it, dude?
What do I take
And give
from
it to the audience. Fucking turn his conversation into an idea that you can pass on to the world. They didn't ask for it, but you're gonna fucking give it.
I'm gonna
to
go
them.
ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and just give it to you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so one of my favorite unsolicited advice things to give to anybody is like when they're going through something, I say congratulations. And I say, welcome to growth, right? And I heard someone else say that, not an original thought, but I relate with that because it's in those moments in my life where I'm going through an immense amount of pain and I can't turn to any kind of substance or any kind of material possession that's going to make me feel better.
You might try to.
But I definitely try to, absolutely. Because it's harder to be transparent and it's more difficult to be transparent with somebody and to say what's going on in my head and to take that advice. Because I think I know what's best for me when really I don't know anything. But I still smell like Similac.
It's a good drop.
Yo, that's cool though, man. Because, dude, the go-to when you're going through something shitty, or you're going through a breakup, you lose your job, you're sleeping on somebody's couch, or whatever the deal is, man. Like the first thing you go to think about is poor me, right? This rain cloud effect. You know what I mean? Like someone like you someone approaches you with something like that, and you're like, fuck yeah, that's cool. You want to know why? Because now you're gonna grow from that. That's an opportunity to become a better man, a better woman, a better person in general. You just don't think about it that way most of the time. So that's fucking cool.
Yeah, that is good advice, Chad. I think that was fucking round of applause. Standing O from me, dude. Standing O from me. All right, and then Bird, do you want to sort of take your little talk that we had, condense it into something that you can just fucking package and give to somebody?
Never underestimate yourself, ever.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Calm down, Tony Robbins. No, seriously, no. Keep going. I'm sorry, I'm not making.
So I've got a show coming up. If you want to go to my seminars, it'll be Andrew. No, I'm totally kidding. Fucking all right. So most of my life, dude, even up into the years where I owned this business, right? Mm-hmm. I completely underestimated myself. I completely shot down my ability. I completely, discredited my intelligence, my creativity, my innovation, my work ethic, you know what I'm saying? And here's the thing is, like, it's not like I'm different than anybody else, man. I'm made of the same sack of flesh and bones as everybody else on the planet. I just consider the awareness of one's own beauty, one's own ability and unlimited potential to be untapped unless one is able to penetrate that, right? Like, we're all the same, but if you think about it, dude, there's people that go to the top, they hit the 1%, they make, the biggest impacts we've seen, like Oprah, like Tony Robbins, like people like that. But to be honest, those are the same people as you and me, So I try to never underestimate myself. I always try to give myself that credit,
And that's really interesting that you said that, because those are all the things I did to myself when this podcast started, when we started recording. I underestimated.
Like 45 minutes ago, you were just sitting in
45 minutes ago, I was sitting in this like, I am unintelligent and I am not capable of doing this thing, and I still smell like Similac.
Yeah.
I do. I'm very young. I was born in the 90s, therefore, and I don't even know how I won the Guess That Tune game being born in the 90s, because I'm surrounded by a bunch of AARP members.
We're in our 30s.
I take pride in that.
We're in our 30s, so our listeners are going to be very
I drink
offended.
Similac, so.
But yeah,
whatever.
that's where I was, man. And
Protein.
what's really interesting as well is that I just went through that, but we took the break. I became transparent. With you guys. Now all of a sudden I'm loosey goosey.
Loosey goosey.
Now
baby.
all of a sudden I feel capable, and I feel like I'm able to provide, or not provide, but to give back to the podcast and give back
Just
to the
in
listeners.
time, because we're almost out of time.
Yeah, baby.
Chubby.
All right. Well, no, I think it's beautiful. David is our amazing sound guy. He keeps us on track pretty much. Oof. And pretty much what he does the entire time is lets us know what time it is. He pulls up things on the website for us to reference, and he's just I call him the captain. Chad doesn't like it very much, but I'm going to keep that going. But David, do you have anything that you want to wrap this up with? Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Really, all I got is
I still smell like Similac.
Thank you.
And just a quick reminder to everybody, please follow at SissyArt on Instagram. Follow Last Week Out. Again, if you have anything you need advice on that is of the unsolicited nature, please DM us at Last Week Out on Instagram, or email us thelastweekout@gmail.com, and you can follow Bird. Where can they follow you? What do you got going on? What's your business like? What's going on with that?
Yeah,
like, how
plug
can we
that
follow
shit.
You? Plug
Baby,
shameless
E6
plug.
City Tempe, 16 Rural, e6cityaz.com. Come find us on Instagram.
And what are you guys working with there?
Man.
What do you guys got? Vape
Dude,
juice?
We get you to quit smoking and live a life free of the cancer sticks. That is our main goal.
It's
Y'all
also
got-
a
We
really
y'all got
want to
cool.
empower
CBD?
y'all.
CBD.
Yeah, do you guys sell
CBD.
CBD?
Yeah, we sell a little bit on the side. No, we don't sell any CBD. We keep it real.
Also,
Keep it
don't
real
you have a
over there.
pool table and a N64 hookup?
Dude,
at
for
the
real, like primarily these days, like if you just need a place to decompress and hang around with some kick-ass people, man, that's like the place to go.
What's the next business?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Do you know?
I'm looking at manufacturing distribution of
Vape juice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're taking it, expanding it.
Yeah. And I'm actually looking at a master's degree, so we'll see where that takes me. in the
You said
next 5 or 6
manufacturing and
years.
distribution, and I immediately thought of methamphetamines. I was like, Bird, you can't say things
Dude,
like
I
that.
just
man.
sell it, man.
digress.
I don't smoke it, all right?
We digress. All right. Well, again, Bird, thank you so much for coming on. We hope to have you back on eventually. And I hope that you guys had a good time. And thank you,
Thanks for
everyone,
having
for
me,
giving
man.
us a listen. And we'll see you guys next week. I think we have an amazing guest. I think it was going to be Danny. Danny might not know. Danny Habites?
Habites.
Awesome. And so, like Chad said, it is unsolicited advice, but if you send something, you're soliciting it. But also, if any questions that you have for Danny, any questions that you have for us, anything like that, please send in and we will read them.
And if you like this intro and outro music, it's by a good friend of ours, Devin Hancock. You can follow him at Devin J. Hancock on Instagram. He is a music producer and audio engineer. He's got great stuff. So please
shit
follow
is
him,
dope.
follow the podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.